In this video, I'm going to show you how we digitized the vines on this graphic. The first thing I want to do is rotate the graphic. If you look at my schematics that I passed out, the image is going the opposite direction. So to make it a little bit easier, let's go ahead and rotate this graphic. To do that, I want to make sure I have the graphic selected. If I don't, go ahead and just click on your backdrop tool, and that will select the graphic. So if it's not, again, click on the backdrop tool. Then if you come over here to the properties for that, you'll see it'll have the rotation right here. Just go ahead and click 180 degrees, and that way the graphic is going the right direction. Okay? Now let's start digitizing the vines. The first thing we want to do is click on our artwork tool icon. Okay, then we're going to select the thread. How I do that is on the bottom here. It's going to default to the blue colors. If I click these arrows here, it'll start to bring up the green colors. Just remember that you want to pick a color that visually you can see. This is kind of a dark background, and if you pick a dark color, it could blend in. If you don't feel comfortable with that, go ahead and click on the backdrop tool again. And you see right here it has a slider for the darker to the lighter. You can bring that down a little bit, hit apply, and it lightens up the graphic. You want to be able to see it, but it tones it down so you don't, you're able to see the lines you're tracing. So let's go back up, click our artwork tool, choose a color of thread, and let's make sure we zoom in on this. The more you zoom, the more accurate. So I'm zoomed in at 300%. You don't really need to go too much past that. So let's start the process. We're clicking once to start, and then I'm just following the perimeter of this line right here. I want to try and do this all as one. So I'm just following it. On the Floriani software, when I want it to curve, when I want the editing points to curve, I hold down my control key, which I'm doing right now, and I'm just following the line. When I get to here, I don't want it to curve, so I'm releasing my control button, and then I'm going to continue to hold my control button till I get to this point right here. I'm going to release it because I want to travel up this line here, and I don't want it to be curved. Again, I'm just traveling, just clicking where I want that editing point to go, and coming up to the tip, coming down again when I want it to curve. I hold down on my control button. Again, I don't want it to curve at the tips. Coming down here, and then coming up to this point here. Now I'm done tracing it, but I still have that tool engaged, and it still wants to trace. So at this point, you can either hit the enter button, you can double click, and that will finish it off. So if I hit enter, you see how now the tool is no longer engaged to draw, but it's still engaged. So if I come down here to trace this part, my tool is still engaged. I don't want to travel across, I want to finish here. I hit enter, the tool finishes off, but it's still engaged, and I can travel up to this point. Again, if I don't want to hit the enter button, I can hit right click, and it will finish it off. And you see how now in my sequence view, I have those three parts. And you'll notice that it says artwork. So you want to continue that process of tracing per the schematics each part of the vine. Again, working it from here and doing this all as one, traveling down, around, coming back up, around, both sides, and back up. So you want to do that on all the leaves. When you have it all done, then you can go into your sequence view, which I reference in my notes, and let's click at the highest level. What that means is anything that's underneath this part here, we're going to change it all at the same time. Again, this is artwork, so unless we convert it, it's not in stitch format yet, so you won't be able to take this to your machine. So per my notes, I say change from artwork to an outline run stitch. If we come down here where our stitches are located, and I put my mouse over the very first one you see, the curve, this is the run outline. I'm going to click on it once, and now if you look at the sewing order, it has changed it from from artwork to a run stitch. Now what I put in the notes is, okay, you've gone ahead and converted it to a run stitch, but I want to update it to be a double run. Single run's not going to show enough. So right up here under my properties box, under the run tab, you see where it says single run. I'm going to use the drop down, change it to double run, and as per my instructions, and I say this for everything we do, anytime we make a change, go ahead and click the apply button. And now, if I switch over to 3D view, we've got some nice, beautiful double run stitches. And again, for this lesson, I'm going to switch to 100% view so we see it. I've just digitized this part right here. You want to digitize all of these vines first. There are 7 of them. You want to digitize all 7 of them in artwork, and then follow what I did with selecting them here and convert them all at one time. That concludes the video on how to digitize the vine.